Emanating from www.michaelnimmons.com. It's the Thinking Out Loud radio show, giving voice to issues that matter to you.
I'm Kevin Merida, Senior Vice President of ESPN.
Hi everyone, this is Roxy Roll from Western Air, Bahamas.
I'm Monica Morgan, international photojournalist and motivational speaker.
Hello there, I'm meteorologist Denise Isaac from WXYZ Channel 7.
Hey, this is Maurice Griffin from BET Sunday's Best.
I'm Lauren Winfrey, TV news reporter for today's TMJ4 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
This is Dr. Eddie Connor, and you're listening to the Thinking Out Loud show with my main man, Michael Nimmons. Grew up listening and singing If I Could Be Like Mike, and I really do, so I had to listen to how he brings it, how he flows with it, how he engages you, how he speaks truth to power and inspires you to do something greater than ever before. Don't you dare miss it. Continue to listen. Think out loud, speak out loud with Michael Nimmons.
And you're listening to the Thinking Out Loud radio show.
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 So one of the best radio shows that I've ever been on. And in Detroit, I can't go without Thinking Out Loud with my boy, Michael Nimmons.
This is Michael Eric Dyson, and when I'm in Detroit, I listen to the Thinking Out Loud radio show, dropping that knowledge, giving that inspiration, giving us that enlightenment. Nobody does it like Brother Michael does it. Do your thing. Holla. Peace.
Featuring author, motivational speaker, and minister, Michael Nimmons.
Hey, what's cracking, Planet Earth? It's your boy Griff, comedian, author, motivational speaker, entrepreneur, philanthropist, but a Jesus Christ lover. You understand me? And you're listening to Thinking Out Loud radio with my homeboy Michael Nimmons. Check him out right here. Go ahead, Mike. Give him that good.
The Thinking Out Loud radio show, giving voice to issues that matter to you.
Congratulations to Pastor Michael Nimmons and the Thinking Out Loud radio show for over 10,000 streams and downloads. Rate, review, and subscribe to the Thinking Out Loud radio show. Available on Apple Podcast, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spotify, and now available at michaelnimmons.com.
The Thinking Out Loud radio show, giving voice to issues that matter to you.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Thinking Out Loud radio show. And I'm your host, author, motivational speaker, and minister, Michael Nimmons. And you are tuned in to the show that's giving voice to issues that matter to you. We are so very excited tonight, man. Got a great show for you. Brand new show, man. We've been doing a few things differently over the past couple weeks. We re-aired one of our previous shows entitled What Does a Christian Look Like?, featuring Christian fashion designer Terry Ann Phillips. And I hope you enjoyed that show. We thought we would re-air that show in lieu of us not being able to connect with our guest that we had told you about, Monty Scott, the young man, 12 years old, who was filling potholes in Muskegon Heights He was involved in basketball tournament and weren't able to connect, unfortunately, but hopefully we will be able to very soon. So stay tuned for that. We're going to keep trying to connect. I'm really proud of this young man, all that he is doing, and just very, very. I'm very impressed with his ingenuity at such a young age, taking it upon himself to fill potholes in his own community because of what he and his mom experienced driving one day and having a blowout, and him not wanting other people to experience what his mother went through. I think that was very admirable of him, and he's been recognized by the Muskegon Heights City Council. Also was contacted by Governor Whitmore, spoke with her on the phone, and actually got an opportunity to meet her in person. So I'm just excited about that, and would love again to connect with this young man and his mom, and hopefully we will be able to do that very soon. But we aired what does a Christian look like, and very interesting question. Had a great interview with Terry Ann Phillips, Christian fashion designer, and I hope you enjoyed last week's show. And of course the week before that, we decided to switch things up a bit and share with you an inspirational message that we shared at our home church, Greater Grace Temple in Detroit, Michigan. Shouts out to our pastor, Bishop Charles Haywood Ellis III, for giving us the opportunity to minister in his absence during the 11 o'clock service. And the message was entitled, But They. Got a lot of great feedback about that message, and I hope that it blessed you as well. So, that was what's been happening over the past couple of weeks. But tonight, we got a brand new show with a great guest, comedian, motivational speaker, philanthropist, co-host of GetUp Mornings with Erica Campbell. My good friend, Comedian Griff, is on the show with us on tonight. And I want to give a special shout out to Brianna, his executive assistant, for helping to make this interview happen. I truly appreciate you. I hope you're listening, and I hope you guys enjoy the interview on tonight. Big ups to Brianna and to Comedian Griff again for being on the Thinking Out Loud radio show. We'll be sharing with you this interview in just a few minutes. But before we get to our interview with Griff, we're going to, of course, have our What Are You Thinking About segment, and where we're going to be talking about the Virginia Beach mass shootings. Unfortunately, 12 individuals lost their lives to deranged gunmen, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in the next segment. And also, we got a couple great stories from America's Got Talent. Cody Lee, I'm sure you've probably seen this video is going viral all over social media. This young man who has autism and is blind was one of the debuted guests on America's Got Talent. Just a tremendous young man. Going to be sharing with you a little bit of his performance during the next segment, as well as giving you some information about the Detroit Youth Choir, who's also going to be on America's Got Talent. Man, I am excited, and you should be as well. They are representing the city of Detroit. Want to give a shout out to our Detroit Youth Choir family, the artistic director, Anthony White, and his entire staff. Also to the family of all the parents of the Detroit Youth Choir. Know a few of them, or a couple of them actually. Holly Sue Jackson. I'm sure she's listening on tonight. Her daughter Gwenny is in the Detroit Youth Choir, and Associate Pastor Melinda Peterman, her grandson Jeffrey is in the Detroit Youth Choir. Shouts out to all of them. They are the Thinking Out Loud radio show adopted choir. And we're sharing with you a little bit about their appearance on America's Got Talent, as well as where you can see them next. That's right. You want to see them in person. You are going to get your opportunity. So we're going to be sharing with you all of that in just a few minutes. Plus, we've got a dynamite thought of the week for you to close the show out on tonight, and it's centered around the donation made by the black billionaire Robert F. Smith recently as he spoke to the over 400 or so graduates of Morehouse College, and promising to pay off all of their student loan debt. A tremendous act of kindness to those young men. Haven't had a chance to share my thoughts about that, but we're going to do it in tonight's show, and talking about paying it forward. So tremendous act of kindness. We're going to be talking about that a little bit more in tonight's thought of the week. So you don't want to go anywhere. We have got a great show in store for you on tonight. So let's get to it.
You is live.
A sea of raised fists and silence.
2020 fight is getting very real. Democrats jumping in, speaking out.
Jussie Smollett. A month ago, few people knew who he was.
You're watching The Breakfast Club.
If you take it all into consideration, Stephen A.
Listen, the argument that where you absolutely disgust me.
D Lemon, right now.
How you feeling?
Better than I deserve.
You feel better today?
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about?
This is the June 4th edition of the What Are You Thinking About segment, where we talk about everything and everybody. We start off this segment talking about the Virginia Beach shootings that took place on this past Friday, May the 31st. According to reports USA Today, 12 people were killed when a public works employee opened fire at a municipal building in Virginia Beach on Friday. The suspected shooter, a 15-year veteran of public works and a civil engineer, was also fatally shot after a standoff with police. Police say the suspect was armed with a .45 caliber handgun with a silencer believed to be used for stealth and to keep victims from knowing where the attacker was in the building. Survivors of the attack say they were caught off guard and initially puzzled by what was happening. In fact, one described hearing something that sounded like a nail gun. The gunman brought numerous extended magazines loaded with ammunition, which carry more rounds than traditional magazines, police said. This was a very, very tragic event. Tragic incident. I was listening to some of the reports over the radio, and I heard what was the clicking sound of the .45 caliber handgun with the silencer in it. It literally sounded like a nail gun. In fact, according to what was reported on CNN, some of the his coworkers thought that it was actually a terrorist simulation. That it wasn't, that this was being simulated, that it was not real what was happening. But when they start to see individuals dropping to the floor because of gunfire, then they, realize that this was actually, something real taking place. And there was, again, no rhyme or reason for what took place on Friday. This particular gentleman did not show any signs of mental disability, or there was no mental distress. There wasn't any, according to reports. There was no nothing going on the job, employment wise, that might have warranted this type of outburst. But our thoughts and prayers are with the families of the victims of this senseless violence. It doesn't matter how many times these things happen. It just seems like when it happens, it's happening, for the first time, because all of those emotions come back to the forefront. Columbine and Sandy Hook and Colorado, and all of these types of mass shootings that have taken place. And it really begs the question: when is Congress going to act? When are they going to impose some real put some real gun legislation in place to get rid of these types of acts of violence? I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. There really needs to be something really needs to be done in this regard. And the more these types of things happen, the more it solidifies the point that Congress needs to act. And mental illness is real, guys. I mean, even though the person on the surface may not look mentally disturbed, they may not look like they are under they're distressed or depressed or stressed out. It doesn't mean that something is not going on, and you just cannot convince me that there was not something going on in that particular situation. There was something that tripped this man off and caused him to just go off on all of his co-workers. It's just amazing. And again, our thoughts and prayers are with those families. I know it's got to be a real difficult time for them, and I just pray that God comforts them, and in their time of need. It's just, you're at a loss. You really don't have words to really describe what you're feeling. All kinds of emotion, because these types of things could easily have been avoided if something was done. And unfortunately, we have 12 lives that are gone forever, and just real tragic. So you just have to leave it there. But on a more positive note, we are very excited about America's Got Talent. This show has been out now. I believe it's in its 12th or 13th season, thereabout. And this season is slated to be one of the best, I believe, for a few selfish reasons, one of which we'll be talking about in just a few minutes. But there is a video that's been circulating around the internet. Cody Lee, an autistic young man who is also blind, 22 years old, that was on the first show of this season, for America's Got Talent, and he was, I believe, the last contestant on the show, and he got the golden buzzer because his performance was nothing short of extraordinary. I have to tell you, nothing short of extraordinary. If you haven't seen the video, you can go to our Thinking Out Loud Facebook fan page, facebook.com/Thinking Out Loud radio show, and there you will be able to see the video. But we're going to play a little bit of his performance for your listening enjoyment. Here, take a listen to Cody Lee as he just awes the audience for America's Got Talent. Take a listen.
I've been to so many places in my life and time. I've sung a lot of songs, and I made some bad rhymes. I've acted out my life on stages, 10,000 people watching, yeah. We're alone now, and I'm singing this song to you. Oh, there's no space or time. I love you from my life. You're a friend of mine. But when my life is over, remember we're together. We're alone now, and I'm singing the song to you.
Yeah, so there you have it, guys. Just an amazing performance. I was blown away with it. You know, I'm telling you, everybody in the building was on their feet when he was done, and he got the golden buzzer from new judge Gabrielle Union, and it was just a tremendous performance, and he really did deserve the golden buzzer. And again, what impressed me so much was, given the fact that he has autism and how it has affected his speech pattern and affected his mannerisms, and how he has to, his way of talking and communicating. But it just seemed like when he sat down at the piano to play, he became a completely different person. Like his mom said, I mean, he transformed into an entertainer, as she put it. And it was just amazing. So if you haven't seen the video, I recommend you check it out. Go to our Facebook fan page, Thinking Out Loud Radio, facebook.com/Thinking Out Loud radio show. You'll be able to see the footage. This young man is definitely going to go places. I just remember Gabrielle Union hugging him and saying, "Just change the world, kid. Just change the world." Amazing. Truly amazing. And of course, we're talking about, since we're talking about America's Got Talent, as I said in our opening remarks, the Detroit Youth Choir, they made it to America's Got Talent. If you recall, when we first started our show, back in August of 2017. A few months after that, we came on the air talking about the Detroit Youth Choir going to audition the first time for America's Got Talent in Cincinnati, and trying to raise funds to help them get there. And we were really trying to help get the word out so that they could make the trip, and they did make the trip to Cincinnati to audition. Unfortunately, they did not make it to the show the first time, but they were vigilant, and they tried it a second time, and thankfully they made it to the show. And their episode is going to be coming up very soon, so we recommend watching. As I said, we're going to have Anthony White, artistic director, on after their episode airs, because we want him to come on and talk about the experience they had on the show. And I'm just real godly proud of the Detroit Youth Choir. They are the adopted choir of the Thinking Out Loud radio show. We have a special place in our heart for those young people, and they are just real great ambassadors of the city of Detroit. They've got some great things coming up, events that we mentioned to Anthony that we're going to promote on the show. So we wanted to do that during the What Are You Thinking About segment. So the first appearance they're going to be making, they're having a spring concert at the Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church on Friday, June the 7th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's right, a spring concert. The Detroit Youth Choir is going to be performing. Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church, again, Friday, June 7th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. They're also going to be performing on June the 20th for a youth conference at Prayer Temple Baptist Church, 27350 West Chicago in Redford, Michigan. Dr. Anthony Johnson is the pastor. June the 20th at 7 p.m. You don't want to miss this opportunity as well. And then on Sunday, June the 23rd, they're going to be at 13500 Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. Reverend Richard White is the pastor. They're going to be singing and performing there for their Youth Day on Sunday, June 23rd at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, 13500 Dexter Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, 48238. They're going to be special guest choir at the 10:45 a.m. service. This is going to be a great service, and recommending that you go out and check them out Sunday, June the 23rd. And then finally on Sunday, July the 28th, they're going to be at Greater Grace Temple, 11 a.m. service, to take over youth service at Greater Grace Temple. So they have got a slate of appearances coming up. You have an opportunity to see them not just on the nationally televised show America's Got Talent, but you'll be able to see this choir in person. We've posted these flyers on our Thinking Out Loud Facebook fan page, facebook.com/Thinking Out Loud radio show, and you'll be able to get all the information you need there. So you'll be able to check this choir out. So godly proud of them, and so happy for all of their success, and just bursting. Well, that was the June 4th edition of the What Are You Thinking About segment. And if you have any questions or comments, you can add us at TOL Radio Host MSN on Instagram and Twitter, or just send us an email at contact@michaelnimmons.com. Love to get your feedback. Love to know what you think of the topics for not just the What Are You Thinking About segment, but for the entire show. Well, we're getting ready to take our first break of the night, but when we come back, we're going to be talking to comedian, funny man, philanthropist, motivational speaker, co-host of GetUp Mornings with Erica Campbell, my man, Comedian Griff. Don't you go anywhere. You're tuned in to one of the hottest radio shows online. That's right. It's the Thinking Out Loud radio show. We'll be right back.
You're tuned in to the Thinking Out Loud radio show, giving voice to issues that matter to you.
Hi, my name is Maya, and you're listening to the Thinking Out Loud radio show with radio show host and my daddy, Michael Nimmons.
You better listen to that, little girl.
Who told you that you were naked? Who told you that you were insufficient? Who told you that you were a loser? Who told you that you were a failure? Who told you that you were deficient? Who told you that you were nothing? Who told you that you were worthless? Who told you that you had no value? Who told you that you were naked? To believe?
Who Told You That You Were Naked is a dynamic, empowering, and inspiring book about identity that is a definite must-have. Pastor Nimmons talks about an identity crisis that dates as far back as the Garden of Eden. You don't want to miss these powerful insights into not just the problem of this identity crisis, but the discovery of the spiritual solution. Get your copy now, available on Amazon for just $14.95 or by visiting michaelnimmons.com.
Like a victim when you are already victorious.
This is Frederick D. Haynes III, and whenever I'm in the Detroit, you know what I've got to do. I got to check out my man, Michael Nimmons, who is handling his business as he drops that knowledge. I like that because Frederick Douglass, for whom I'm named, said that knowledge unfits us for slavery. Truth sets us free. If you want to be free, you want to be like Mike. Check out Thinking Out Loud right here in Detroit.
The Thinking Out Loud radio show, giving voice to issues that matter to you. Miss the show featuring evangelist, entrepreneur, and executive producer of Bloom TV, Brianna Swanson.
Tell us about Bloom TV.
Catch it on iTunes, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Spotify.
Bloom TV will be a YouTube series, and it will be 24 pre-recorded shows that I will release once a week. And it's going to be a 30-minute show. It's not enough, to have God just do everything in 30 minutes. I want to be able to get all the youth rallied up in the city at one point, and we just have a Holy Ghost fire good time. Bring our friends and family. People get healed. People get saved. Miracles happen. I really want to see God operate strong and doing an outpour in Detroit.
You're tuned in to the Thinking Out Loud radio show. Keep it locked, keep it locked, keep it locked.
This is radio host Michael Nimmons, and yes, it's tax time. Haven't filed yet? No worries. We've got the place for you. Consumer Tax Clinic. Take it from someone who knows. They will sit down with you, go over your return, give great advice, and look for the best possible return options. Let the experts at Consumer Tax Clinic help you get the refund you never thought you could. They did it for me. Let them do it for you. Call Consumer Tax Clinic at 248-395-0078. That's 395-0078 or visit their website at consumertaxclinic.com. That's consumertaxclinic.com. Consumer Tax Clinic, a tax service designed with you in mind.
You're tuned in to the Thinking Out Loud radio show. Keep it locked, keep it locked, keep it locked.
All right, everybody, welcome back on another very special edition of the Thinking Out Loud radio show. And boy, do we have a great guest on the line with us on tonight. And I can't wait to get into this interview. You all should know by now who I'm talking to. We've been sharing all over social media. But I want to give him a proper introduction before we get into this interview. He is a veteran in the game, in the comedic game, of almost 25 years doing stand-up as a comic, motivational speaker, veteran on-air personality. He is also the co-host of GetUp Mornings with Erica Campbell. He's also the author and father of 5 and has forged his career at the intersection of faith, philanthropy, and humor. And guys, an interesting fact about him, he is the first American to tape Comedy Central Africa. Wow. Can't believe it. But we're going to definitely get into that in tonight's interview. But I want you to give a warm Thinking Out Loud radio show welcome to new friend of the show and good friend of ours, Comedian Griff. Welcome to the Thinking Out Loud radio show, Griff.
How are you? What's cracking, homie? What up, though?
Man, I'm just so happy to have you with us on the Thinking Out Loud radio show with us on tonight. To have such a heavyweight like yourself, 25 years in stand-up, veteran radio personality. Let's start here, man. You know, you guys are doing big things on the radio. 40 markets, 1 million listeners. What's it like doing GetUp Mornings with Erica Campbell?
What I love about working with Erica is I've never seen Erica take one day off of loving Jesus Christ. Like, she ain't never said, I don't know, Griff, we might not make it, man. Like, her confidence and her faith walk it's infectious, you know, and to wake up in the morning and really be focused to tell people about something that you believe in, and all Jesus want me to do is be funny. And I told him, let me tell y'all something, everybody that's listening, I got baptized April 13th, 2003. And I said, Lord, I will do whatever I won't do comedy no more if you don't want me to. But he then said, actually, I was naked in the middle of my living room on the ground saying, Lord, whatever you want me to do. And the first thing he said was, I want you to put some clothes on. And he said, I don't want you to stop being funny. I just want you to be intentional with your comedy. But one thing I told my pastor, I said, if I got to be lame to be saved, I don't want to do it. I don't like lame people, and I don't want. And my pastor was like, God, I don't want you to be lame. You can't be no help to the kingdom if you a bum. You the only one who know how to be you. My mother used to tell us when we was kids, before we left the house in the hood, you know, everybody stop at the door and look at your thumb. Your thumbprint is the most unique thing on the entire planet. Even twins and triplets don't have the same fingerprint. So in essence, you a unicorn. You're made so special. You're your own kind of tree. You can't even be in a forest with that original. And she would make us say, so repeat after me, I am somebody with our thumb up. It just gave me great confidence as a kid to know that I was special. And I just believed my mom, you know. And even when society and people were saying, you're not special, I was like, but my mom said that if I keep dreaming, that I would be able to, said if you keep saying, I wanted to be a comedian since I was 3 years old. So God gave me a spirit of confidence when I was a child. And I told adults, I'm going to be a comedian when I grow up. By the time I was a fourth grader, a substitute could come into class and go, what y'all going to be? And the whole class would say, he going to be a comedian. I don't know what we going to be, but we know what he going to be.
I know you are enjoying our interview with co-hosts of Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell and Comedian Griff. So happy to have him on the Thinking Out Loud radio show with us on tonight. Let's start. You kind of talked a little bit about, wanting to be a comedian as long as far back as 3 years old. When did it really become a career goal of yours to become a comedian? We asked this question of all of our guests, whatever their professions are, and we've gotten some very interesting responses. I remember one comedian told me that she wasn't intentionally trying to be a comedian. She really just she was upset with her job, and one day she was driving and she was listening to the radio and she heard about an open mic contest at a comedy club, and she just went. And she said, you know what, I went there, I didn't have any notes, I just freestyled and got up on stage and I won, just basically venting about her job. So I want to know from you, when did comedy really become a career goal of yours?
No. Well, I can tell you about the first time I went on stage, but I've been making people laugh as far as I can remember. I've always been I went to summer school from the 6th grade until I graduated from high school, not because I was dumb, but because I'm from the hood and I had abuse going on in my house. So I just tried to stay away from the crib as much as I could. But what I ended up doing was taking on my required courses and my electives. So by the time I was a senior, I only had one class, and it was government economics. And in California in 1988, they made me go to school from 7:35 to 3:35, and my class was at 10:30. And I was begging them. I was like, well, why don't y'all just let me come to school at 10 or let me leave at 12? Like, let's pick one. So every day, my whole senior year, I sat on a bench in the courtyard and wrote signs that said, let me go home. So I got out, I left high school with a lot of scholarships, and I didn't want to go to school now. Like, I already knew what I was going to be. But I joined the Army just to spite my military father, and then I probably should have crashed his car or something, because when I came home and said, man, I joined the military, he was like, hoorah, the Semper Fidelis and the Marine man is a good man in the U.S. And I was like, Army. But he said, oh, you didn't know what Army meant. Army mean ain't ready to be a Marine yet.
Oh.
When you're 17, though, you think you're so smart. So I joined the Army. I copied Morse code during Desert Storm. I had a top secret security clearance when I was 18 years old. I lived in Germany. I speak fluent German now. And when I left Germany and came to D.C., where Fort Meade and NSA was, I started comedy on April 14th, 1995. This girl, we actually worked at this strip club that didn't have a liquor license. And Snapple had just came out. So these Snapple trucks would come, and we only had Snapple iced tea and Snapple punch or something like that. It was 2 Snapples, and they had just came out. And me and her worked in this front room where I checked your ID, you gave the money, and then you went in the door behind us, and that's where the strippers was. But it was in Laurel, Maryland. The strippers was, I don't know, they looked like a bunch of moms. They wasn't black strippers, so they probably looked crazy. I ain't really get into them like that, But we would sit in that booth, and I would go, what you gonna be when you grow up? She would say, man, I'm gonna be an interior designer. And I was like, I'm gonna be a comedian, and we gonna be laughing at this stupid booth we working at. And then one day she took me to the comedy club, which was literally on the same street as the strip club, about 2.5 miles down on the right-hand side. And she took me, it was a comedian named, not Kevin Anthony, not Kevin Flagg, it was Kevin Lee was the comedian. He was on HBO. He was a comedian that would pull out a machete and start juggling the machetes, and he would roll his sleeve up and he would have a bunch of Band-Aids on. Well, Kevin Lee was performing at this comedy club that held about 300 people, and it was only about 8 people there. And Kevin Lee is a prop comedian, so if you can imagine Carrot Top. Carrot Top has a chest behind him, and he just pulls different stuff out of the chest. Well, that's what Kevin Lee was doing back in '95. On this particular night, the airline lost his chest. So on stage in front of 8 people, this very, very empty club, he kept saying, you know, normally I have my chest and I could go get whatever. So after the 4th time of him saying, you know, if I had my chest, I would say, I know. You would finish it, and then he wanted to join me. So now remember, don't forget, it's 8 people. That's including me and my homegirl, the waitresses, the bartender, Kevin, and probably 4 people who got free tickets. So we start joning back and forth, and the 8 people was laughing at me. And I started comedy the next day.
So you basically took over his entire set.
So I started in Washington, D.C. with Joe Clair, Ray Grant, and Dominique. Yeah, of course, Chris Thomas and T-Rex and Pierre and Coco Brown and, you know, all those, Ted Carpenter, all them people. I started with them. Donnell Rollins, all of them.
Wow. Heavyweights in the game, man. Wow. Absolutely. Wow. I'm just enjoying myself, chopping it up with Comedian Griff. So excited to have him on the Thinking Out Loud radio show. And, you know, I was listening to you. Where do you get your material from? Are you, just...
I'm an observation comedian, so it's what I see. I write a lot, and I kind of mix my observations with some funny stuff. But Milton Berle, if you know who Milton Berle is.
Absolutely.
On CNN with Larry King, he said there's comics and there's comedians. And comics are people that say funny things, and comedians are people that make things funny. And I'm a comedian. You know, I can talk about being at my mama house and my cousins start tripping. I know how to make that funny. But I was brought up in a funny home. Like, my mother is still the funniest person I know, and when I go home, my sisters and brothers clown the mess out of me. Like, I got some funny sisters, man. They don't cut me no slack.
Well, we're so glad to have Comedian Griff on the show with us on tonight, man. Love chopping it up with him. Down to earth, humble guy. Again, so happy to have him on the Thinking Out Loud radio show. You know, who are some of your comedic role models? You know, individuals that inspired you to, you know, do what you do now.
I would have to say George Burns and Bob Hope. You know, they both lived to be 100 years old. They both were still doing comedy in 97. And the influence that they had and how long they did it, they really are the essence of it's a marathon and not a quick race. So I'm privy to those comedians. You know, I watched Saturday Night Live growing up, and I understood that every scene and every set we saw was a premise of a joke, and a joke that was just stretched out more and more every Saturday. So I learned very I learned very quickly at a young age that comedy is visual. So, and because I speak in pictures and everything that I say, people have to see. And when you can get a whole bunch of strangers in on a common denominator of what's going on in the room, it no longer becomes comedy. It's almost like a sociology thing going on because we both are understanding the norms of each other. So it's a little comedy is a little deep for me.
Don't touch that dial. It's the Thinking Out Loud radio show. We'll be right back.
Mr. Show featuring violin extraordinaire Candace Pretty String Smith.
And probably one of the more interesting ones was Rick Ross. Violin and Rick Ross don't go together. So you really got to explain to us how that all came together.
Catch it on iTunes, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Spotify.
Yes, of course. So Rick Ross, that was when I was a student at Florida A&M University, and we had a homecoming showcase, and they hired Rick Ross to come for our homecoming concert. And everyone wanted to open up for him. Like, I want to audition. I want to open up for Rick Ross. So I went through an audition. So I was chosen to open up for him.
You're tuned in to the Thinking Out Loud radio show. Keep it locked, keep it locked, keep it locked.
You're listening to the Thinking Out Loud radio show with Pastor Michael Nimmons. Don't you dare touch that dial.
Have you purchased Michael Nimmons' new book entitled Vision? It is definitely a bestseller in the making. This book is full of positive insights on vision from people like President Barack Obama, Nelson Mandela, and Dr. Miles Monroe. Michael Nimmons offers a riveting and thought-provoking perspective on how spiritual vision transcends both natural and mental vision and propels you to your place of destiny and purpose in God. It is definitely a must-have. Just $20 for hard copy and $3.99 in ebook format. Available online everywhere books are sold. Get your copy today.
And you're listening to the Thinking Out Loud radio show.
The Thinking Out Loud radio show, giving voice to issues that matter to you.
You're tuned in to the Thinking Out Loud radio show. Keep it locked, keep it locked, keep it locked.
I know you are enjoying our interview with comedian and co-host of GetUp Mornings with Erica Campbell, Comedian Griff. Let's get back into this hilariously funny interview. I've been a comedian for almost 25 years now. I want you to tell our listeners about some of your proudest moments as a comedian. Talk about, some of the things that you feel like, wow, I was able to do this.
I was on Teen Summit with Maya, who was one of the kids from Teen Summit, but it was her first time coming back as an artist. And I was on there with Big Pun. And Big Pun had, of course, his partner, the lean back homie from New York with him. And then also Dub C and Battle Cat and all these West Coast comedians was on the first time. So being from Cali and then being on TV and I had my family around me, I thought that was a big deal in my comedy career. Monique had a comedy club back in 97, 96 in Baltimore, and it was Monique's comedy club that paid me the first time. I was working with J.B. Smooth in 97, and we probably did 7 or 9 shows. It was a really small room, but it was a big deal because everybody used to come from New York, and I was outside, and I got this envelope that said Griff with $300 in the corner, and it was the first time I had got paid doing comedy, and I've been doing comedy 2 years, and a homeless dude was trying to talk to me and beg for something, and I was like, man, I'm having a moment. So I just thank the Lord for, really, living this vision out. And then the homeless dude was like, you done yet? I remember that time. The first time I take Comic View, and like I said, I've been on there 5 times. So that was, all those times were amazing. I taped the Big Black Comedy Show on Showtime with Mark Curry. I taped the First Amendment with Martin Lawrence. In 2013, I became the first American, not the first African American, the first human being from this continent to take Comedy Central Africa. And since then, I've been on there 3 times, and it's really, when I go to South Africa, when I go to Johannesburg in a couple months, it'll be my 30th time going. I'm actually on my way to Edinburgh, Scotland this weekend to perform at the comedy club there. Very excited that, internationally I'm known. It's kind of cool to, it's a big deal. I downplay it a lot, but it's kind of cool. So I try not to have my favorite moment because then I won't like the other moments. But them are the ones that, always make me go, man, it's been a cool ride.
I'm telling you guys, I really am enjoying talking with Comedian Griff. As I was listening to what you were saying earlier about, some of the comedy greats, you've been in this thing for almost 25 years. I want to find out from you, how do you think social media has helped, or in some respects hurt comics nowadays? Has it been a benefit, or has it in some ways been a hindrance to some of the success that you could experience as a comedian?
Social media has been great for me, man. I was one of those people that was marketing myself way before social media was big. So before MySpace, before Facebook was opened up just to people in college, before Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, everything, I always was looking for unique ways for more people to hear what I'm talking about. So I'm just blessed that social media is a blessing to me. You pull up all my pages, I ain't cussing, I ain't talking negative, I ain't saying nothing that's gonna get me hemmed up by no police. It's a place to promote myself and things that's going on in my life, and I'm not one of them comedians that's gonna go on there and put on wigs and do whole mini movies in 59 seconds. I'm happy for them. I love the ones that can do it. But that's not, I'm not that kind of comedian. Those comedians that's awesome on social media, they normally can only do about 13 minutes of real comedy. I'm not them. I got 17 hours on it. My mama find out I'm putting on wigs. I'm going to get so clown.
Man, I love comedians that's just naturally funny, man, that it's not The humor is not contrived. It's just natural. Comes off very natural, and that's the vibe I get when I hear your comedy. I've heard you several times, and man, every time I've enjoyed it immensely. And so, again, very happy to have you on the show with us on tonight. Who are some comics that are up and coming that you think we should be paying attention to?
Yeah, up and coming comedians. I'm pretty hard on comedians, so I really don't. When I used to host open mics, I used to love to watch the comedians bomb.
Oh, wow.
In your mind, you said this is going to be so funny, and then you went up there and bombed, and when it wasn't funny, the look on your face and the way your body hates you. I love when the new comedians say, when they can't think of nothing, they go, clap if you got a mama. Everybody with a left hand make some noise. They start, if you got fingerprint.
Woo, man, I know you are enjoying our interview with Comedian Griff, man. Love chopping it up with this dude, funny guy. And I'm enjoying myself on tonight's edition of the Thinking Out Loud radio show. And we'll try our best to segue into our next question, a more serious question. Griff, in addition to being a comedian, I want you to tell our listeners what are some other things that you are doing and are involved in.
Comedy is always my first job. Radio is my side job, but I just got a nonprofit. I've been working with other people's nonprofits for the last 30 years, and I just created my own nonprofit, 501c3, called the Process Success Foundation, and we help young men between the ages of 6 and 7 all the way up to 15 to deal with leadership problems, fatherless problems, and basically I'm just going to take a bunch of young men on field trips all around the world, and not to places like to go see, Barcelona play soccer or to go to the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to show them the process of things being made. For example, if I can show you the process of a tire being made, from the rubber ball bearings to the big vat that they put it in, that's probably hot as volcano lava, into the mold to make the tire. And I can show you how during the NHL season that all basketball stadiums have ice on them with the hardwood over the ice. Once I show you those processes and you understand the process of those things, then I can teach you the process of being fatherless. I can teach you the process of forgiveness. I can teach you the process of love. I can teach you the process of being grateful. And then when you get out of line and when you start, getting frustrated, I can say, no. Remember when the tar and the rubber was put together in the vat and the vat wasn't hot yet? You at that place right now. You got to finish. So I'm really excited about that. The first event we're going to do with that is going to be July 14th in Atlanta. I'm going to take 200 kids in a 24-hour lock-in, and we're going to speak life to them, get them haircuts, teach them how to tie ties and bow ties, and give them the tie and the bow tie. I don't know how to tie a bow tie either, so I'm very excited about that. By the time their mothers come get them kids their mothers will never have to open a car door by herself, open a front door, bring in groceries, pump her own gas. We're just really going to speak life into these young men. It's going to be like a 24-hour TED Talk for kids.
And that sounds like that's awesome, because that's definitely needed, in this day and time. Our young boys are in dire need of good role models, and I really applaud that as well. I have a nonprofit as well. It's called the Vision Initiative, and we doing something similar to that as well, going into schools, after school program, and having mentorship opportunities and sharing with young people about careers and social skills and really trying to help build them into the young people that will become the leaders in their community. So I applaud what you're doing, and it's obvious that you're not just concerned about yourself, but you're concerned about building up the next generation of young people.
Right. Good, man. I'm in a great season right now.
You're tuned in to the Thinking Out Loud radio show, giving voice to issues that matter to you. Did you miss the transformation of Daryl Woods? Then check this out.
Let's start right here. As we said in your bio, you served 28 years and 11 months in prison, arrested for being associated with the wrong crowd.
Catch it on iTunes, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Spotify.
I was convicted as an aiding and abettor. In 1990, I was hanging around the wrong crowds. I found myself hanging with my co-defendant. Me and my cousin, who was my co-defendant, went to a home to purchase marijuana. Chaos broke out in the home. Guns were pulled out. And it was like a hellish experience.
You're tuned in to the Thinking Out Loud radio show. Keep it locked, keep it locked, keep it locked.
This is radio host Michael Nimmons, and yes, it's tax time. Haven't filed yet? No worries. We've got the place for you. Consumer Tax Clinic. Take it from someone who knows. They will sit down with you, go over your return, give great advice, and look for the best possible return options. Let the experts at Consumer Tax Clinic help you get the refund you never thought you could. They did it for me. Let them do it for you. Call Consumer Tax Clinic at 248-395-0078. That's 248-395-0078. Or visit their website at consumertaxclinic.com. That's consumertaxclinic.com. Consumer Tax Clinic, a tax service designed with you in mind.
Hello, this is Reverend Marcia Dyson, and you're listening to the Thinking Out Loud radio show, where not only you have the opportunity to think out loud, you can speak out loud.
The Thinking Out Loud radio show, giving voice to issues that matter to you.
It's their birthday. Need a gift for that special someone. Then call KCN Designs and sit back and smile. KCN Designs specialize in custom-made all-occasion baskets that are sure to make that special someone smile. Call KCN Designs today at 248-820-3691. That's 248-820-3691 and order your custom basket today.
You're listening to the Thinking Out Loud radio show with Pastor Michael Nimmons. Don't you dare touch that dial.
You're tuned in to the Thinking Out Loud radio show. Keep it locked, keep it locked, keep it locked.
I hope you enjoyed our interview with comedian and co-host of GetUp Mornings with Erica Campbell, Comedian Griff. Let's hear the conclusion of this hilariously funny interview. I have certainly enjoyed talking to Comedian Griff, man. Just a real down-to-earth guy, chopping it up, and I'm so happy to have him on the Thinking Out Loud radio show. And before we wrap the interview, we like to play a word association game with some of our guests, especially with comedians, because they're good with one-liners. And we didn't talk about this off air, but I'm sure he'll be able to come up with some good ones. I'm going to give you maybe about 5 words or phrases, and I want to hear what your thoughts are about them. And so the first one is marriage.
Say marriage. What comes to my mind is a commitment, a dream job. People say you gotta treat marriage like a job, but you gotta treat it like your dream job. You can't treat it like the dude who work at McDonald's and his shoes suck and he keeps slipping in grease. He don't want to go to work the next day, smell like grease and fries. So you can't treat your marriage like that kind of job. You gotta treat it like a dream job. I get to turn on radio every day. For the strangers, that's a dream job, and you gotta support it. And you gotta make sure it's good, and and you also gotta have a little crazy in you to meet somebody and then stay with them forever.
All right, okay, all right. Here's a name that we talk about quite a bit on our show, probably too much, according to my dad, but Donald Trump.
Listen, for real, Donald Trump don't hurt my feelings. When I meet the president, I'm going to say, sir, I love your business savvy. I love how you know how to start a business and close a business and make money off. I love everything that about you. President, I like how you a real hunky and you eat McDonald's in the White House. Who they are, no one can be shocked in America because they acting like that. If a dude tell a girl, I'll kill you if you ever leave me, you ain't gonna see what's gonna happen. You ain't watch the news? You think these people be playing when they chop up their girlfriend and put her in a trunk? He told you he was gonna kill you.
Right. Okay, all right. What about this one? Kanye Sunday services.
Man, this is what nobody know about Kanye's Sunday service. Kanye trying to find Christ. Kanye ain't out there singing Kirk Franklin songs and Mary Mary. He's singing old Cleveland. He's singing the oldest. He's singing real hymnals.
Right.
Him a Jesus moment. And people want to go and be nosy and see what he's doing and go and judge him and say that. I mean, that's your business, but that's how he want to love the Lord. It's some people who watch church on TV. There's some people who watch church on their phone. So you want to praise the Lord? Who would tell you look like a fool looking at your phone? But hey, man, that don't hurt my feelings. Anybody who's feelings is tender, go be Kanye. You don't know what it's like to have 22 Grammys or 1 Grammy or nominated for nothing. So just don't try to act like, if I was him, I would make a clothing line and just make that slave clothes. Just go make one. Yeah, I just look at it like this, man. If you're going to be mad at Kanye for doing what he wants to his way, the question you got to ask yourself is, what have you done? What have you worked on? What have you accomplished? What legacy are you leaving for your kids? Yeah, he got a thought wife. His sister-in-law is the first kid billionaire. Like, yeah, they very thotty with it, but Kardashian and Kim Kardashian helped that black lady get out of jail who was in jail 29 years or something, and went to the president and made. I mean, so I don't judge people, homie, because I know people judging me, and I just don't care. Like, you can say what you want to about me. I know who I am.
Right. Okay. All right. So, what about the NBA playoffs?
NBA playoffs. Okay. So, I'm from the Yay. I'm not a real basketball fan, though, because I think it's something wrong with tall people. I don't think you're supposed to be 6'19". You a Great Dane human being. How many old 7'5" people have you ever saw in your life? Exactly. They die early. They can't walk in a couple decades. If you want me to see some disabled people play a sport, I'd rather watch little people softball. I like when they bunt with their forearms. Golden State, man. I'm a Golden State fan. What Golden State's been showing this series, or what they did with Portland, is they showed everybody that they had a bench. Milwaukee's been showing everybody all year that they had a bench, so everybody on their team get 9 and 12 and 13, and even Lopez looks sweet, shooting threes, and then, of course, you got to deal with the Greek Freak. Now, the problem is Toronto kind of won it. Now, what Milwaukee don't want to happen is that Toronto win a third game in a row, because now it's problems. First of all, you don't want to lose. Them losing 2 in a row ain't good anyway. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't just lose by 3. Portland only lost by a couple points every game. Milwaukee got blown out twice. If they can keep that momentum going into Milwaukee, it's going to be a problem. But either one of those teams will get drugged by them yellow boys. You understand me? Ain't nobody winning this finals except Golden State.
Yep, I think you're right, Doc. I think Golden State's got this one. I really do. But there we have it, guys. Man, we have been laughing out loud with my good friend, Comedian Griff, on tonight's edition of the Thinking Out Loud radio show, man. And we've been so happy and blessed to have had him on tonight's episode. Thank you so much. Before we let you go, man, you've definitely got to just let us know how people can follow you, how they can keep up with what you're doing, the different things that you're involved in, of course, your comedy, and, of course, Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell. Give us all of that great information.
Okay, let me tell you something real fresh, though, before I hang up with this interview. If you ever in the North Dallas area, make sure you come to the Galleria on the right where the ice skating rink is. It's a store called 316, and all it got is Jesus. See, I'm about to buy the freshest jacket ever and wear this in Scotland tomorrow, and it's Raider colors kind of too. They ain't gonna know. I'm gonna get so many compliments at the airport about Jesus. Okay, look, so thank you for having me again, man. I appreciate it. You know, when you work in the kingdom, what's beautiful about being in the store that I'm at right now, when you do kingdom work, we don't work the same way as everybody else. It's not a hustle. It's not a grind. God did not want me to come out here and be hot and my back hurting. Not if I do everything I'm supposed to, tithe, live right, help people. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm in somebody's manifestation of a dream that somebody said, well, Lord, maybe I should just get a kiosk. No, I want you to get a whole store. This is amazing. It's things like that propel the kingdom, and I'm so very thankful that I could wake up every morning and talk about Jesus Christ from 5 to 9 a.m. Central with Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell. Erica Campbell, y'all know her from Mary and everything else, but, you know, and I've worked with her now 157 weeks. We just celebrated our 3-year anniversary 2 weeks ago, and she just got nominated for a BET Award for All of My Life, the song with her and her husband, Warren Campbell. Outside of her and her family having 7 Grammys and a gang of American Music Awards and 1,000 Stellars and Dove Awards and TV shows. And man, that lady has never taken any days off on loving Jesus Christ. She don't have no low self-esteem. She don't say, man, Griff, I don't know. I was praying for something. I don't know if he can do it. Not this one, maybe. She's so Jesus-y, and that is infectious. To be around. And saying all that, man, listen to us every day, 6 to 10 Eastern. Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell. GetUpErica.com. GetUp Erica on everything. And I'm 2 trillion on everything. The number 2, the word trillion. That's my website. That's my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Check out my podcast, Laughing at Money. Every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern. It releases everywhere you can hear podcasts. I'm with Erica Gwen, the nonprofit guru, and we just, really show you if you at home braiding hair, how you can get you a nonprofit and get grants and all, so you might want to check that out. Laughing at Money podcast. We on episode 4 or 5 right now, so you can go listen to that now. But man, thank you for having me. I appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Keep talking about the kingdom. Keep asking people, hear people's testimony, because that's where the learning is in hearing. You know what I'm saying? You got to hear somebody say, man, I ain't have nothing. I lived in my car. And now I got a store in the biggest mall in Dallas, Texas. You know what I'm saying?
There you have it, guys. Really enjoy my man, Comedian Griff, on tonight's Thinking Out Loud radio show. We have been truly laughing out loud with Comedian Griff from Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell. And we pray nothing but success on everything that you're doing, from your comedy to your nonprofit to Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell. Thank you again for being on the show, and may God continue to bless you.
God bless you, man. You stay blessed.
It's the Thinking Out Loud radio show. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. It's the Thinking Out Loud radio show. We'll be right back.
Congratulations to Pastor Michael Nimmons and the Thinking Out Loud radio show for over 10,000 streams and downloads. Rate, review, and subscribe to the Thinking Out Loud radio show. Available on Apple Podcast, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spotify, and now available at michaelnimmons.com.
The Thinking Out Loud radio show, giving voice to issues that matter to you.
And you're listening to the Thinking Out Loud radio show.
The Thinking Out Loud radio show, giving voice to issues that matter to you.
This is radio host Michael Nimmons, and yes, it's tax time. Haven't filed yet? No worries. We've got the place for you. Consumer Tax Clinic. Take it from someone who knows. They will sit down with you, go over your return, give great advice, and look for the best possible return options. Let the experts at Consumer Tax Clinic help you get the refund you never thought you could. They did it for me. Let them do it for you. Call Consumer Tax Clinic at 248-395-0078. That's 248-395-0078. Or visit their website at consumertaxclinic.com. That's consumertaxclinic.com. Consumer Tax Clinic, a tax service designed with you in mind.
Who told you that you were naked? Who told you that you were insufficient? Who told you that you were a loser? Who told you that you were a failure? Who told you that you were deficient? Who told you that you were nothing? Who told you that you were worthless? Who told you that you had no value? Who told you that you were naked? To believe.
Who Told You That You Were Naked is a dynamic, empowering, and inspiring book about identity that is a definite must-have. Pastor Nimmons talks about an identity crisis that dates as far back as the Garden of Eden. You don't want to miss these powerful insights into not just the problem of this identity crisis, but the discovery of the spiritual solution. Get your copy now, available on Amazon for just $14.95 or by visiting michaelnimmons.com.
Like a victim when you are already victorious.
Stay tuned for more motivation, more inspiration, and more empowerment on the Thinking Out Loud radio show. Keep it locked.
It's time for the Thinking Out Loud radio show thought of the week.
Tonight's thought of the week is centered around the benevolent spirit of an African-American billionaire, Robert Smith, as he pledged to pay off over 400 black graduates' student loan debt of the historic Morehouse College. This donation is estimated at $400 million, which is the largest contribution to date that anyone has ever made to a university, and the first of its kind in this matter, effectively eliminating the overwhelming student loan debt of over 400 black men. The impact of this act of generosity cannot be overstated. Now these young men can start their careers without worrying about the dark cloud of debt hanging over their head for most of their adult lives. They could essentially start off with a clean slate. The gift that billionaire Robert Smith gave these young men is tremendous. When I was first made aware of this noteworthy feat, I was astonished, like many of you who couldn't believe such an extraordinary act of kindness. I've played this moment over and over again, and I'm sure many of you have, imagining that you are one of the 400 young men gifted with this elimination of their student loan debt. I can't imagine the jubilation and gratitude that was felt by these young men. Listen to the words of billionaire Robert Smith as he made this historic proclamation to these proud young graduates.
Men of Morehouse, you are surrounded by a community of people who have helped you arrive at this sacred place and on this sacred day. On behalf of the 8 generations of my family who have been in this country, we're going to put a little fuel in your bus. Now, I've got the alumni over there, and this is a challenge to you, alumni. This is my class, 2019. And my family is making a grant to eliminate their student loans. My class will make sure they pay this forward. And I want my class to look at these alumnus, these beautiful Morehouse brothers, and let's make sure every class has the same opportunity going forward. because we are enough to take care of our own community. We are enough to ensure we have all the opportunities of the American dream. And we will show it to each other through our actions and through our words and through our deeds. So class of 2019, may the sun always shine upon you. May the wind always be at your back. And may God always hold you in the cradle of her hand.
What a tremendous offering. What a tremendous gift. But the part that really stood out to me is not just the monetary donation. It wasn't just the promise by Robert Smith to pay off all of these young men's student debt, but it was the challenge he laid out to the alumni and even those direct beneficiaries of his gratitude to pay it forward. We have an obligation as a community of people to pay it forward. It's our responsibility to ensure that the generation behind us lives a better life than we did. It's our responsibility to leave this world a little bit better than we found it. It's our responsibility to leave a legacy to future generations and do as the Word of God prescribes, to leave an inheritance to even our children's children. Robert Smith is worth an estimated $5 billion. And maybe for him, $400 million may appear to be a drop in the bucket. And this might be a feat that might take some time to surpass. One thing that I've learned in life is that everybody can do something. Doing something might be the difference between success or failure. Doing something is the difference between winning and losing. Doing something is the standard by which all of us must be held accountable. When it's all said and done, you will have made an impact much bigger than you could ever imagine. Pay it forward. I guarantee you'll be so glad you did. We hope you enjoyed tonight's show. I want to give a big shout out to Comedian Griff and to his assistant, Brianna. Thank you for helping us to put this interview together. We truly, truly appreciate it. I really just enjoyed chopping it up with Griff, especially the segment where we were, talking about a little bit about sports in the NBA Finals. As you can see, that portion was taped a couple weeks ago during the Eastern Conference Finals. We all know what happened. Toronto ended up beating Milwaukee, surprising everybody, including myself, because I was picking Milwaukee to make it to the NBA Finals. But to the victor goes the spoil. And, the series is tied 1-1 now. And Toronto's got to play Golden State in Golden State on tomorrow, Wednesday. So you know how it goes. The team that can win on the road will be your NBA champion. And so far, Golden State has beaten Toronto in Toronto. So until Toronto's able to beat Golden State in Golden State, I'm picking the Warriors. That's my take on the NBA Finals. Again, love chopping it up with my man Griff. And remember to listen to Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell and her co-host Comedian Griff. They're on Monday through Friday from 6 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. Nationally syndicated show, 1 million listeners, over 40 markets. If you want to know how you can listen to Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell, just go to www.getuperica.com. GetUpErica.com. Again, shouts out to the Detroit Youth Choir. This is such a great group of young people. Again, we are just so proud of them. Be sure to check them out on America's Got Talent. You got to keep watching. The show to see what episode they're going to be on. But if you're interested in attending any of the events we talked about earlier in the show, just go to our Facebook fan page, facebook.com/Thinking Out Loud Radio Show. There you'll be able to see the flyers with all the information that you need to be sure that your face is in the place at any of those events. Thank you again for tuning in to tonight's show. We truly, truly appreciate you. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the Thinking Out Loud Radio Show. We love to get your feedback. Let us know how you like the show. And if you want to leave us a comment, just follow us or add us at TOL Radio Host MSN on Twitter and Instagram. Or leave us a comment on our Thinking Out Loud Facebook fan page at facebook.com/Thinking Out Loud Radio Show, or visit our website at michaelnimmons.com, where you can leave us a comment on our show page. That's right. You can leave us a voice comment. That's right, guys. And you may even hear it on the air. Go to michaelnimmons.com, the TOL Radio Show page, and right there in the middle of that page, you can leave us a comment, and you might even hear it on the air. We thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's show again, and be sure to tune in next week. We're going to have another great show in store for you. As always, remember, if you think it, you can believe it. If you can believe it, you can see it. If you can see it, you can be it. If you can be it, you can achieve it. The power rests within you. The mind is the most powerful muscle in your body. Use what you got to get what you want. The power is in you. It's a Thinking Out Loud Radio Show. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Thinking Out Loud Radio Show podcast. Be sure to support all of our radio show partners. If you like the show, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, or Spotify. Want to book radio show host Michael Nimmons for a speaking engagement, book signing, or corporate event? Send an email to contact@michaelnimmons.com. Be sure to follow the show on all of its social media accounts, on Instagram at The TOL Radio Show, on Twitter at TOL Radio Show, or on our Facebook fan page at www.facebook.com/Thinking Out Loud Radio Show. Are you an entrepreneur? Want to advertise? Become a Thinking Out Loud Radio Show partner and take advantage of our free introductory advertising offers. Send an email to thinkingoutloudradioshow@gmail.com for more details. Visit the new home of the Thinking Out Loud Radio Show at www.michaelnimmons.com/TOL Radio Show. The Thinking Out Loud Radio Show, giving voice to issues that matter to you.